Hello and welcome to From the Be All End, the Burnley podcast. I'm Andrew Greaves, and joining me for this preview of Burnley versus Arsenal at Turf Moor on Saturday is Darren Bentley and Justin Connolly. As I said there, Mikel Arteta's Arsenal side romping away with the Premier League title so far. Only a handful of games in, just over a handful of games in. But Daz, come to Turf Moor, probably a good time for Burnley. They'll probably sense it's a good time for them as well to kind of play one of the lesser sides. What are you expecting from Saturday's game against Arsenal?
All right, good pagging. That's what I'm expecting. Yeah. But listen, we play the games because we don't know what's going to happen, and as the week's gone on, I've kind of warmed to the task. I think Scott Parker's been saying all the right platitudes, giving Arsenal all the right platitudes, despite the fact they'll come in and whinge about the grass and whinge about the wind and the rain and the fact they're 200 miles from home, whatever miles it might be. But listen, it's a tough task. We're playing the champions-elect. We know that they'll be a different animal, I think, than the Liverpools that we've played so far, because Liverpool are a little bit off it. But you never know. You snap into a few tackles, you get amongst them early doors, and you get Josh Cullen swinging his metronome in midfield, and you never know, do you? You get that first goal, gives you something to hang on to. Different game. Get at them. Let's get at them.
Yeah, and just, we went into these kind of games under Vincent Kompany knowing pretty much what was going to happen. It's a bit of a different... It's a different feeling under Scott Parker, isn't it? You do go into games. When we went to Old Trafford, I kind of thought, we can get something there. They're on they weren't in the best of form. We thought we could frustrate Liverpool. Are you expecting us to be able to frustrate Arsenal in the same way as we did against Liverpool?
Well, I don't see why not. I mean, I don't think Liverpool were quite up to speed when obviously what's happened since has proved that. Arsenal are a different prospect. They're doing well. They're flying high, playing a different kind of football. But defensively, our record is really good. We've got that concentration level that we've got. We can keep teams at bay. We can do a good job at that. And we've got 10 points from 9 games. And we said at the start of the season, didn't we, that if we could get a point a game, then we'd be somewhere abouts at the end of the season. So it's kind of a free hit, isn't it? If we lose this game, does it matter that much? We've still got a point a game. So it gives that, maybe we've got a bit of freedom now. Maybe we can be a bit more expressive. Maybe we can, I think we'll play that sort of low block that we've played and try and hit them on the break. And we've got the players to hurt anybody if we do that.
Yeah, and Daz, we got, I think it was 28 minutes into the debrief before we used the word free hit, and I was trying to avoid using it. But Justin's right. When you look at the kind of points tally, and everyone always say, look, we said it after City, we said it after Liverpool, the results against an Arsenal don't dictate your season. It is a bonus. You get anything out of an Arsenal game, it's a bonus, isn't it? But what confidence are we taking into this game, Daz, on the back of that last gasp win at Wolves, following up on the victory over Leeds? Essentially victories over 2 teams we think are going to be in around us. Gawthorpe must have been a really happy place to be this week, you'd have thought, wouldn't you?
Well, we'll probably find out that in the next episode of Keeping the Faith, won't we? But yeah, you're right. Why wouldn't you be confident? You've got 2 strikers, and we've bemoaned all season about not potentially having the strike force to get ourselves out of trouble in this league, but we've got 2 strikers who both scored last weekend. One who scored his first goals in the Premier League and must be feeling on top of the world, and he'll probably start the line again, you would imagine, at the weekend against Arsenal. He's going to find it a different kettle of fish, I think, because I think I saw Arsenal haven't conceded a goal in 6 matches, for the first Premier League side ever to not concede a goal in 6 matches, which seems ridiculous. But listen, as we said, you play the game on grass, not on paper, don't you? We've got an equally resilient defence that can hopefully, Arsenal can have off days, can't they? Gyökeres can be a bit hot and cold. The likes of Martinelli, even Saka can be a bit hot and cold. So we're talking about a side who are infinitely better than Burnley. Let's not beat around the bush, but surprises happen. And this Premier League season so far is throwing up some surprises. Teams up at the top that you wouldn't expect up there, teams at the bottom that you might not have expected down there. So I'm looking forward to it. I really am looking forward to it. It's a real challenge for the lads. And I'm sure that's what Scott Parker will be saying to them. This is a little bit of a litmus test for you now. We've had that little good spell of 2 back-to-back wins. Whereabouts are we? Can the confidence give us another 10% and that can make us competitive? It's all there for us, isn't it?
Yeah. And just looking at last week, Sunderland go to Chelsea and get a win. Villa beat Man City, and Villa really, up until playing us, were no real great shakes. They didn't look like they were going to kind of match the form of the last couple of years. It is a weird Premier League. I think we've mentioned this a couple of times on the podcast. It's the natural order of how we expected things to be when we were like, yeah, Brentford will struggle, Bournemouth will struggle, Palace will struggle. It's not really working out like that. And, you look after the win last week, where we were in comparison points-wise with teams that are in the Champions League, teams that were champions last year. It's not settled yet, has it, this Premier League season?
No, it's not. It's been really unpredictable. Or, like you say, all the results have been strange. But what isn't strange is that Arsenal are up there. Arsenal are, they've lost only one game this season. Their goal difference is plus 13. So, we talk about confidence from that Wolves game. I'm not too sure about that, because I thought we were very close to messing that up completely. That second half was as bad as we've been this season, and we got away with it because we, scored that last minute goal but it wasn't a dominant performance. I think Scott Parker will be, listen, we've got to get our heads in this game, because it could be a difficult afternoon it will be a difficult afternoon for us. Wolves are a poor side. Wolves are really struggling, and we only managed to beat them with a last minute goal against the grain. So I don't know about whether that gives us confidence going into this game.
Yes, Justin's right. It was a bit of a scrappy win after a brilliant half an hour against Wolves. Do you think that performance second half will have given Scott Parker a little bit of food for thought in terms of his lineup? You said you expect Zian Fleming to start up front, and I probably agree with you. But just looking at, obviously the setup might be different. We'd probably expect us to go 5 at the back. Just looking at the wingers, neither Brun Larson nor Anthony, as we mentioned in the debrief, were really at it. Do you think Scott Parker perhaps throws in a Hannibal who plays a slightly different role? Do we kind of let Chowner loose, who perhaps has a better transition than, say, JBL Brun Larson does? What are you expecting Parker to have been working on at Gothorpe this week in terms of team selection?
Yeah, firstly, I think Justin's right that not just the Wolves' performance, the Leeds' performance gives a little bit of cause for concern, but the lads will be buzzing that they've won both of those games. Make no doubt about it. And, results can mask performances. Not for a long time, but for a few games, you can mask performances with results. But you're right, the manager will want a little bit more. And I think he'll be worried, as you mentioned the wingers there, he'll be worried, I think, about the wingers at the minute, because they're probably the weak link of the side at the minute. I'm one of Anthony's biggest fans. I think he's been terrific for us. And I thought he started the season really well. But he seems to have dropped off a cliff a little bit in the last couple of games. And Brun Larson, I couldn't believe he picked Brun Larson against Wolves after the performance he put in against Leeds. But again, we won that game. So who's to say he won't start him again and use Loom as a bit of a weapon of choice if he needs to later in the game? But the wingers do give us cause for concern, I think. And if there is going to be changes in the side, I think you're right. 5 at the back will probably happen. And I think that maybe we sacrifice a winger for that. That's the way I would see it. But I don't see that being Anthony, because I think Anthony is his golden boy, isn't he? So Anthony will be the outlet for us, I think, on Saturday again. Noisy task against Arsenal defence, but I think we will sacrifice an attacking player for a defensive player. No doubt about that.
Yeah. And Justin, do you expect that to be, I mean, Ekdal and Laurent both came on against Wolves. Do you expect Laurent to kind of take up the mantle like he did in that game against Liverpool when he was impressive as part of a back five? Or do you think he'll go with a more kind of traditional centre-half like Ekdal in that back five?
I think Laurent is going to be the way that he goes. That seems to be the option that he's chosen up to now. And I don't see any way of him, moving on from that. As far as the wingers go, I think Anthony's had a difficult start to the season, and I think Brun Larsen's had a difficult start to the season. I think they've performed well in some games, but not in others, and I think that is determined by how we operate. If we sit back and try and hit them on the break, that makes it difficult for those wide players, doesn't it? Because they're not getting the service. I think this has been the problem for the whole of the front line, really. That we haven't, we've said that that Scott Parker can be a little bit risk averse, so that kind of like sitting back and trying to hit them on the break. It's difficult for players like Anthony. It's difficult for players like Brun Larsen. It's difficult for Foster because he's not the sort of player that you're going to hit and he's going to hold up the ball and spray it off to the wingers. I think we've got a little bit more possibility of that being, successful with Fleming, because I think he plays with his back to goal a lot better than Fleming does. But yeah, I think we will go with the five at the back, and I think Fleming's going to start up front, and we're going to try and hit him and play on the break. And I think Laurent definitely is going to be that right hand side of the sort of three in the centre of defence. He doesn't seem to like Ekdal, doesn't he? I mean, that when he dropped him after he'd started with him, and then he wasn't even in the matchday squad. That was a strange move. So you sort of feel like he doesn't quite trust him. The way
I have
you
him.
think
I'm with him on that. I'm not his biggest fan. I think he started really well for us, but you compare Championship Ekdal, Premier League Ekdal, and I think his lack of pace is alarmingly worrying.
Yeah, he does lack pace, doesn't he? I think, Twanzebe perhaps does have that bit of pace. I think Twanzebe's probably felt his way into the side a little bit. I mean, he wasn't great in either the Carabao Cup ties. I didn't think Twanzebe, but I
didn't look fit though, Scott.
Been pretty decent since coming in. No, he didn't. To be honest, he didn't look fit. He didn't. To be honest,
now he's fit. He looks like a player, I think.
Yeah. It was slightly, I mean, the whole kind of dropping Ekdal out of the squad felt quite Vincent Kompany-esque, didn't it? Really does, in terms of, we often spoke during the Kompany Premier League season of players being, in the matchday squad for 5 or 6 weeks and then bombed out in the Trafford Centre for 5 or 6 weeks. I mean, we've got a close-knit group of players. You could tell that after Sunday. You just hope that when the pressure builds, that tight-knit atmosphere remains, don't you? I mean, because that is ultimately, I think, what will help us this season, isn't it?
It's a tiny squad, but I think what it is becoming more apparent is that we've got a strong 11 and a supporting cast, and even some of the supporting cast aren't really getting a look in. The likes of Marcus Edwards is just basically warming the bench week on week at the minute. Hannibal's getting little bits of cameos here and there. Josh Laurent's dips in and out. But equally, you see the benches when the goals go in and the lads are up and they're out and they're up down the line celebrating. And so keeping everybody happy is always going to be a problem when you've got a settled side. And Burnley have a relatively settled side at the minute. But equally, that is our strong 11. You can make 1 or 2 changes, but you can't make any more than that, I don't think, from our strongest looking side. So I think those players who aren't starting games at the minute, you're reliant on suspensions and injuries, really, because otherwise we're going to be starting pretty much the same 10 or 11 every week, aren't we?
And Justin, I kind of mischievously asked Daz about this in the debrief. It'd be quite nice to stick one over on Arteta, wouldn't it? I mean, Daz alluded to the whinging about the length of the grass and the weather and the lines and being 200 miles per hour. He's a manager I really struggle to connect with and find much to like about. Are you similar? Or are you somebody who kind of thinks, well, you know what, he's going about his business, he's trying to get his team to win that elusive Premier League title?
Well, he is obviously, but I mean, on this side of the fence, he seems like a very unlikable character, doesn't he? But is he? What has he done up to now? He's been there a long time, hasn't he? And he's not really. I mean, they've challenged for the Premier League, but they've not. They always seem to fall short, don't they? Somehow they all seem to fall short of the mark. I don't know. I like it when we win against anybody. It doesn't matter who they are. But you're right. It would be nice to get one over on him.
The big managers,
absolutely.
The big managers, I've noticed, they have very good deflection techniques. The lesser managers will go, we weren't up to it today. We weren't quite on song. But the bigger managers, it's either the opposite. I mean, what about Slot at the minute? The opposition aren't telling us what format they're playing. There's too many long throws. They're changing the side, and we don't expect it. I mean, and really,
Maresca was at it the same, wasn't he? He was saying they all playing a back five, then all of a sudden they playing a back four, and I can't tell people I've told you all week to play against a back five, and now you're having to go out and play a back four. He's such a weird managerial mentality.
Your money by using your tactics to sort it out. But Arteta's been very simple in these respects, and in that respect, he's very rarely critical of his own players. It's always an excuse somewhere down the line, or it's a referee, or it's a decision, or it's the conditions of the grass is too long, as we had at Burnley that time. But yeah, they're good at that. These
and it's never his fault, is it? It's never his fault.
No, it's never their fault.
But let's be honest, there are too many long throws, aren't there? What's happened with that? Why is that happening?
I like it this year, the return of the long throw. I don't mind sticking a ball in the mixer and I mean, I prefer it when we're doing it rather than balls are coming. I do get very nervy. I mean, I think Dubravka's been brilliant, in commanding his area and getting punches away. He don't catch enough for my liking, but we've not had masses of problems. But it is weird. Justin, do you think this is kind of the end of Pep ball because Pep ball's perhaps not as effective as it has been? I know we've kind of bemoaned the way that Pep has either revolutionised or ruined English football. Do you think that, I can't put my finger on why we're doing it, but do you think teams are actually going, all this tarting about at the back and ticky-tacky nonsense actually isn't getting us anywhere unless you've got that kind of squad at your disposal?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it seemed like that everybody in the world was playing that kind of like possession, playing out from the back. And just, it seems like a miracle that this season that's just disappeared completely, hasn't it? Everyone's doing the same thing. Everyone's doing the long throws. Nobody's playing that, even the goalkeepers are kicking it long. And it just seems like it's been a sort of revolution this season. We're going back to Burnley, like 5 years ago. And, it just seems, I think football, tactics ebb and flow, don't they? People adopt a tactic that is different to what's going on and it has success, so everyone else adopts it. And I just think we're on a little bit of a cusp of a change back to something a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit more Dyche ball, isn't it?
We'll be wearing a V kit.
It is weird that Dyche... Yeah, it's weird that Daz, Sean has only just returned to the Premier League, yet everyone seems to have been preparing for his return by following that blueprint of long throws, route one. Can we call it route one? I don't know if we call it route one or direct or whatever.
No, it's like Dyche says. It's like Dyche says. It's long ball when he does it, but it's long passes when anybody else does it.
Yeah.
this way, you won't see Matt Sells
Um,
doing many pass outs to his fullbacks at Forest in the next 6 months. I'll guarantee that.
No, no, no. And again, this is, there's so many. I mean, the art of defending, we could talk for hours about it, but I saw a great clip this week of Plymouth trying to defend a ball forward, and it just, if you can check it out on Twitter, it is horrendous. I've never seen defending like it. It looks like something from the Chuckle Brothers, but so many teams have got themselves into trouble, haven't they, with that kind of style of play. Let's wrap it up there because Darren's got a very important match of the day tomorrow. He's getting married tomorrow. So everyone here From the Be All End wishes him and Nicola all the best for their nuptials tomorrow. He won't be last on match of the day. It started early on the Vino whilst Nicola's doing all the prep work as we'd probably expect. I don't know how organised you are, Daz, but if you're anything like me, it's probably best leaving Nicola to do all the kind of important bits. But we wish you all the best.
I was ironing shirts at 10 o'clock tonight. That's how planned I am.
There you go. Look at that. I'd be kind of just hoping for the best tomorrow, but yeah, and you're still on the turf on Saturday as well. So what a keeper. Second best keeper after Martin Dubravka there, Nicola Wells. So we wish you all the best for tomorrow.
Thank you.
Same for everyone listening. Wherever you're watching the game on Saturday, if you're at Turf Moor or you're in far-flung places, do enjoy the game until we see you again for the rapid reaction on Saturday. Up the Clarets.